Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Astral Tourist, where it gets weird sometimes for sure. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I just report my findings in the astral and hope it helps folks. Sometimes I return from the astral with, let's just say, symptoms. Sometimes I would even call them the bends. Not lately, but yeah, it can happen when you're like shaken from it. Like you were like in the vibrational stage and then you come back in the vibrational stage. Yeah, that can be a thing. Oh my gosh, this one time I actually woke up with a bloody nose I could not explain. And I am not prone to bloody noses. But that was like a one-off thing. So yay for that. Was not great. I've learned my temperature also drops during astral projection. So I have to layer on blankets, even in the summer, just to keep my physical shell, let's say, from shivering. So I'll like have the covers on and off and on and off and on and off. So it's a temperature regulation thing, possibly only for me, but if you have that too, maybe you can let others know too, so that they know that it can, not only be one-off. So I've heard many report also being extra sensitive or psychic after an astral projection. So yeah, that's me too. I mean, I'm already, there and super intuitive and all that, but my senses are definitely super heightened after coming back into my body. So yeah, it's all there. So there is this one experience I recall where I felt like I was filling back in. Like as I was coming back in, I didn't just shoot like back into my physical body that time. And I was not disassociated. Like I knew who I was, but just like I felt like I was filling back into myself from myself or something, like very data oriented. So what triggered that? This is what we're going to get into now. I had found myself on a deserted desert planet when I became lucid. I was flying around exploring. It was vast, silent, and littered with leftover technology like super tech. The kind of sleek, high-fidelity tech that suggests whoever lived there didn't leave because they ran out of resources. Maybe they got bored. I don't know. Something happened, but it was not something like a war or something. So the sky wasn't the black or blue we are used to, night and day and such. It was a dingy ivory filled with floating particles that looked a bit like dirty quartz, like the kind you see when you look down in cement and stuff. It felt ancient, even though I couldn't feel the heat. The light was still coming through the ivory haze. It was incredibly bright and hot, even though I was not feeling the hot. I felt like I should be feeling that. So that was like the information. And I suspected almost immediately I might have been in an elliptical galaxy. And I don't know if I said this before, but this is an astral projection from 5 or 6 years ago. This was not like last night. So an elliptical galaxy is a place where the stars, in this case, are older and the light has a heavy golden light or weight to it. They're difficult to explain. I mean, usually like the globular nectars feel more blue to me. I'm just saying what they feel like to me. And so the elliptical galaxies often feel ivory to me. Sometimes they feel like a light golden to me, and they stretch out more, like they're stretchy. And I've also been in other elliptical worlds that felt like more of, like some of them had a really super light pastel blue, but they weren't like shiny like the globular clusters. So I don't know if that helps anybody in science or if it lines up or if it's just like a, lucid dreaming kind of a tag or something, but that's the information. And, in the astral, in a place like that, you aren't just traveling across miles. Time is more conceptual. You're traveling through a different kind of space and time. And I've covered how wonky time can be in the astral in other episodes. So as I was drifting through the desert and all these tech ruins, there was this stuff I can't even begin to describe because I've never seen anything like it. Well, I had never seen anything like it. And I realized I was not actually even fully lucid by then. I thought I was. And I was like, whoa, I'm clocking all this. I'm making my bookmarks, my mental bookmarks. And then I realized I'm not even close to being fully lucid yet. And I began to realize I was like a very small being looking at toys or something. I didn't know, but I was like, whoa, where the H am I? And this is fantastic. And I'm not going to be overwhelmed because I have this wonderful Zen training and all of this other stuff, came into me, all of my memories about my meditational training and stuff. And I was still like, whoa, and I'm still here. I'm still stabilized. What is this? So all of this is happening at the same time as this feeling of being chased. Something's after me. I'm being really paranoid. I was wondering, am I just being paranoid? Am I really being chased? All of this is happening super fast now. Remember wonky time. So all of this information too is being wonky with me. I'm getting it. I'm getting the information stream, but it's all over the place. So I'm like, what? That, and I got to put it all together. And that's how our minds can be sometimes. When we're lucid dreaming, you got to stay calm. Be calm. Yeah, I like that. So now, as a lot of you know, I mainly go around kind of misty. And then that got me thinking, what saw me? Something saw me. And then I was looking around the place and I'm I felt that familiar almost surge of fear. It was I almost wanted to be fearful. Think of the shadow man, right behind your left shoulder or something. But it wasn't like that. I mean, I'm far away on this planet and there's just this little ting of fear that kind of makes you want to snap back to your body anyway and wake up. But I was like, no way. No. So I paused because when I feel fear, I pause and I ask myself questions. And I don't know if this will help some people or hinder them because sometimes overanalyzing can hinder. But I asked myself in this particular case, why am I having any response, let alone a fear response? And that's a hack. And sometimes this one can work for or against you. So it kind of depends on the circumstances and where you're at and how you're feeling. Why am I having a response at all? It's pretty zen. You can try that one. It's a very gray area. So I looked around and realized, with the 360, by the way, gotta love that 360 in the astral, man. You can't get it here, so use it there. And I realized I was in a high vibrational space. And I realized, I think, in a subconscious way that I was in a future space, but I wasn't sure because everything looked also past. So I was still figuring stuff out and remembered one of my astral travel habits and recommendations. I always try to talk to you all about complying with local customs and stuff. And you can go along with stuff because, if you don't like it, you can always wake yourself up. I mean, there's no harm, no foul there. You can just go with the flow, and if you don't like the flow, well, man, you can change it. Ask for a portal out, wake up, whatever. So I thought, yeah, go with the flow. Let's see what's chasing me. I was like, I'm not a gal that lives in fear. Like that was just the initial response factor. Something's chasing me, and I'm still like trying to figure it out. And I thought, okay, comply with the local stuff. So remember, I've been like working with astral projection and training my own mind and controlling fear for, since I was like 2 or 3 or before. So, and I'm over 50 now, by the way. So, yeah. So, by this time I was like, let's see what's going to happen, because I'm really curious. And I was really curious. It's like, okay, let's see what happens. So I slowed down and I landed. And by landed, I mean like slightly hovering about the ground. Well, I'm still kind of misty, but more condensed so I could interact with the environment. So I didn't know who the pursuer was at first, but it did not turn out to be a threat. It was a drone. Okay, so the thing to think about here is it was not shooting at me. It was searching. It had all happened so fast. These are from my notes. It had all happened so fast, but I'm a quick observer. I floated there in the dust of that mostly dead desert world and let it scan me. And then I added on, it was an administrative chase. The drone ran multiple scans, chirping with a kind of bureaucratic persistence. Then it happened. So I remember trying to ask it questions telepathically, and it like sending me information, and I don't remember all the details about all of that. And in the end, it provided a data readout and reassigned my identification, my ident. It recognized me. So this all inspired me to think about the matrix theory, the idea that our identities are just lines of code in a much larger simulation. Like if the user stays the same, even when the avatar changes across lifetimes, this also kind of coincides with Tibetan Buddhism, by the way, then that drone wasn't scanning my face. It was scanning my source code or my soul code, right? I mean, I can only conjecture here. I'm not saying anything for sure. I'm just reporting what I experienced in the astral, remember? And whether it was a past life or a parallel version of me, the system, in this case, decided I belonged there. I wasn't a trespasser. I was not a trespasser. I was a citizen. So, gotta wonder if these things go, oh, it's just you again. Probably not, but still fun to think about. I mean, I don't mind being a pest once in a while. In a few cases, on and off. But, mostly I'm curious about, like, getting on with things and doing other stuff. So the fear was gone by then. I just felt, okay, I am here now. But as I looked at the desert horizon under that ivory sky, I couldn't help but wonder what happened to the civilization. What happened to them? And the drone was still working, still updating IDs for a population that was long gone, even on the astral plane. So that really got me into a state of wonderment, like, what the, something happened here? I won't use that other word. Was I really the only person left to be cleared for entry into this futuristic, fantastical place with super technology? And I still remember coming back from that one, like I was saying before, felt like I was filling back in, like one code at a time or something, like puzzle pieces. And usually, sometimes it's really smooth. Sometimes I slam back in. Sometimes I come back into the vibrational phase. Other times I'm all tingly, but that time it felt like I was filling back in like puzzle pieces, or I kind of want to say like a slow drip of dough, like apple pie, like, once in a while there's a clump that drips down or something when you're filling in the pan with the dough. I don't know. I'm going overboard with the cooking thing, but yeah, like puzzle pieces I think is better. Like trying to fit a soul that has already been re-identified, that already fits, by an alien drone back into my now human body. And when I woke up, I stayed still for a long time, a really long time, because I've learned to do that. And that's a tip for you. If you really want to remember an experience, hold still and make bookmarks and stuff. I was also riding some euphoric tingles. In that particular case, I had a lot of tingles. I was feeling euphoria and also body numbness, reminiscent of sleep paralysis, but I knew I could wake up. So, also I was going back to my remember the memories, which is one of my triggers to remember memories. Before I figured the Earth's density corrupted the files, You gotta have a plan. You gotta know you're gonna remember. You gotta pre-plan these. Well, not pre-plan the experience, but pre-plan to remember at least in whatever way you do it. So, remember, one memory hack is not to move your physical body upon re-entry. Recount the experience over and over again, whatever it takes. There was this one time I asked this guy, like I knew I hadn't woken up yet. I was still dreaming. I moved from an astral projection to a dream. This guy was playing a guitar. And so I asked him, can I borrow your guitar to write on it? And he said yes. And then I wrote down my whole astral projection on that guitar. And it was like one of those really big acoustic ones, so I could get it all on there. And I was like putting it in like etchings, like I was etching every part of my previous experience into that guitar. And that kind of weird stuff works. It does. You got to do some stuff like that. So, yeah. And I gave it back to him. It was like the etchings were gone, and I woke up and I remembered everything. So nowadays, of course, I'm here on Earth going by the astral tourists. It's also fascinating and a bit funny to think about how somewhere on a desert planet, a few dimensions and galaxies over, I'm also a registered resident of a deserted desert world. Who knows what happened there that I can't remember just yet? But I do want to find out. I'm all over that, believe me. And I suppose that's just part of the commute in the astral plane. I could let this go. Like, if you want to hear more about this particular place, let me know, and I will follow more up on that. But if people here on Earth need something else, you need help with something else, let me know. So thanks for tuning in, starseeds, wanderers, travelers, explorers, and everyone. I mean, I know there's a lot of astral projection stuff out there. I just hope I'm in the mix, and if I can help, I will. So until next time, remember to remember, and happy astral travels.